I woke up to silence. Not the kind that settles in after the world has gone to sleep, but something heavier, like the air had decided to forget I was there. My phone wouldn't unlock. Face ID failed, then the passcode. I tried again. Same result. A polite message. User not recognized. Please re-authenticate. That made no sense. I hadn't changed anything. I'd used the phone last night, checked emails, doom-scrolled Twitter until the guilt set in, plugged it in beside the bed like always. But now, it looked back at me like I was a stranger. I tried my laptop. Same thing. Locked out. I reached for my wallet. The credit card declined when I tried to order an Uber. I checked my bank app. Locked. Account not found. I drove to the bank. Old car, no smart ignition. Thank God. The teller asked for my ID. I handed her my driver's license. She scanned it, frowned, scanned again, typed something. I'm sorry, it's not showing up. Are you sure this is valid? What do you mean? I just used it last week. Look me up by my social. It's not pulling up anything. I can call a supervisor, but I left. Back home, I tried my apartment door. The lock blinked red. I tried the app. Device not associated with any user profile. I rang the call box. Nothing. No answer. I banged until my fists ached. A neighbor passed. She looked at me like I was casing the place. Hey, it's me, Ben. You've seen me 100 times. Apartment 3B? She gave a small, tight smile and kept walking. I slept in the car that night. The next morning, it was gone. Towed, stolen. Either way, I was on foot. I went to my old office. Security stopped me in the lobby. I gave them my name. They checked the system. No one by that name works here. Check HR. Check IT. I've worked here 5 years. My boss is Alan Jacobs. Ask him. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I watched people I knew walk past without a flicker of recognition, like I was a faded photograph they'd never seen before. I tried calling Rachel. The number didn't work. Tried her on social. Nothing. I typed my own name into Google. Nothing. No LinkedIn, no work history, no tax records, no address, no parents, no middle school basketball team photo with my stupid haircut and knocked out tooth. Nothing. I existed yesterday. Now I didn't. It's not like the movies. No dramatic score. No men in suits chasing me through back alleys. Just silence. Indifference. A shrug from every screen I tried to touch. I walked until I couldn't. Slept behind a strip mall. I felt my face changing. Not physically, psychologically. Like if no one could see me, I didn't know what to wear anymore. Didn't know how to talk, who to be. I stole food. I told myself I had no choice. But the first time I did it, I didn't even feel guilt. Just hunger, like an animal that had finally figured out claws. Days passed. I don't know how many. There was no clock to track. I stopped trying to argue with people. What would I say? I swear I was real last week? No one listens to a crazy man on the street, especially one who doesn't show up in their systems. I'm not even a ghost. I'm noise. I found a burned-out shell of a library downtown. Public terminal inside. One still worked. I booted it. No login required. A sliver of luck. I opened a new email, new name, just to see if I could. It let me. I made one, then a second, then a burner social account, then 3. I posted a photo of myself. Nothing. No likes, no friends to find, no matches. I was shouting into a void and hearing nothing back. Sometimes I wonder if I dreamed my old life. Maybe that's how this works. Maybe the system didn't erase me. Maybe it corrected me. Maybe I was never supposed to be here. I still talk to myself, mostly to remember the sound of my own voice. Sometimes I write things down on napkins, old receipts, pieces of cardboard. I stash them under bricks and behind dumpsters, like breadcrumbs. Like maybe someone will find them and say, he was real, he was here. But even that feels like fiction now. I used to be a man with a name. Now I'm just the space he left behind. I started watching people, not in a creepy way, I don't think, but with a kind of hollow hunger. I watched how they touched their phones, how they waved at their locks and paid with their faces and spoke to AI assistants who called them by name. Every motion fluid, every door open, every step confirmed. I missed being recognized. A name is a spell. It opens things. Without it, you're just a shape in the background. I kept returning to places I used to belong, like maybe some muscle memory in the architecture would twitch and remember me. The bar near my old place, the grocery store where I had a rewards account. Nothing. Just more glances that slid off like water. Then one night, I saw a glitch. A girl in the corner of the coffee shop, face half lit by screen light, headphones on, staring at code. Not a big deal except she looked up when I walked past. She stared, not suspicious, not afraid, more like recognition. I circled back, sat nearby, didn't speak. A few minutes later, she wrote something on a napkin and slid it onto my table as she passed. "You're not crazy." That night, I followed her through alleys and down into a forgotten part of the subway. She didn't speak until we were under the river, in a hollow of tiled echoes. They call it nulling. Her voice was quiet, scratched with sleep deprivation. She wore a sweatshirt with no logo, sleeves chewed at the ends. Sometimes the system marks someone for deletion, not a hit job, not government, just purging obsolete data, a bug, a feature, who knows? "Can you fix it?" She shook her head. "I can't bring you back, but I can show you how to hide better, how to live in the gaps." I asked her name. She smiled. "That's the first thing you have to give up." We stayed underground for days. She taught me how to clone NFC tags, how to borrow digital shadows from dead profiles, how to slip inside corporate systems just long enough to make a withdrawal, then vanish before they trace the echo. "You're not a person anymore," she said. "You're a leak, a ghost. Learn to enjoy it." I didn't, but I survived. I learned to be no one. Learned to eat silence and wear anonymity like armor. The girl, if she had a name she never told me, eventually disappeared. One day she was there. The next, her side of the tunnel was cold and empty. Maybe she got pulled back in. Maybe she got caught. Maybe she never existed either. Now, when I pass people on the street, I look for flickers. The half-second delay before the system sees them. The blur before the face scan resolves. That moment is everything. That's where I live. Because once the system stops seeing you, it never looks back. The hardest part isn't hunger. It's remembering who I was without proof. There's no version of me left outside my own skull, and even that's starting to glitch. A week ago, I saw a news alert on a screen through a storefront. Facial rec caught someone looting a warehouse. The image was blurry, but I knew that outline, that hunched posture, that limp. It was me. But I hadn't been there. I stared until the image looped, replayed, then again. It wasn't me. Not really, just close enough to stick in my throat. They say ghosts don't cast reflections. I think they just start seeing themselves everywhere else. I've started following a man. I don't know his name. He looks like me. Not exactly, but if you blurred our profiles, the algorithm might match us. He works in a building I used to clean. He has a family, a dog. He unlocks things with his face. People smile at him. I wonder what would happen if I took his place. I wonder what would happen if I knocked on his door and said, "You have something that used to be mine." But I don't. I just watch. Sometimes I mouth his name. Not because I know it. Just to imagine how it would sound if someone said it back to me. Maybe that's what I miss the most. The echo. Some nights I walk to the edge of the city where the cameras get fuzzier and the system's grip slips. There are people out there like me, nulls, lost packets in a network that stopped routing them. We sit around broken terminals and say nothing. Just presence. Just enough proof that we aren't the last echo. But I know one thing now. If the system ever calls my name again, I won't answer. Something changed last night. A soft hum under the city, the kind you don't notice until it stops. That was the first thing. Then came the blackout. Power flickered and died block by block until even the data towers blinked off like stars behind clouds. I felt it in my bones. The silence came back, not the same as before. This one wasn't forgetting me. It was waiting. I walked through a neighborhood I once knew, half burned out from the recent grid riots, still smelled like lithium and mold. Screens were dark, doors were locked, but manually, no eye scanners blinking red. Just dead metal. A man shouted at me from a rooftop. I didn't look up. I didn't want to see his face. Didn't want to risk the recognition. Or worse, the disappointment of not being recognized. I reached the river by dawn, fog thick as soup. And there she was. The girl. The one who had taught me how to disappear. She didn't say anything at first. Just stood at the edge like she'd been waiting, or maybe like she'd never left. "I think it's breaking," she said. I didn't ask what. She turned and handed me something, a patch, fabric, black, with a thin copper coil sewn into it. "Wear this. When the network comes back online, it'll think you're a dead node. Forgotten. Ghosted by design." "Is that good?" She didn't answer. We walked together for hours, past servers leaking coolant, down train tunnels rerouted and forgotten. We moved like rats through the guts of the system. She whispered names of people who'd gone offline before us, names that had once mattered. She told me about a kid who built a life under a false profile and lived 10 years before the purge caught him. About a nurse who cloned herself so many times the real version couldn't remember what body she started in. About a man who let the system forget him on purpose. We stopped in front of an ancient elevator shaft. At the bottom, a light pulsed in the dark. She looked at me. "You don't have to go further. But if you do, you don't get to come back." "Back to what?" I said. That made her smile. She handed me a shard of mirror. Not glass, some kind of composite. The kind they use in biometric calibration tools. I looked at my face. I didn't recognize it. Just shapes, ghost geometry. But it didn't scare me this time. I went down. The light grew brighter. It wasn't salvation. It wasn't hope. It was just a server stack, still breathing when the rest of the world had paused. Someone had carved a name into the side of it. My name, not a digital file. Not code. Carved. Scratched into steel like it had weight. Like it had cost someone time and pain to leave it there. I touched it. Something in the machine responded. A flicker. A heartbeat in reverse. And for the first time since all this began, I didn't feel alone. Maybe the system did remember me. Or maybe I remembered myself just long enough to leave proof. Either way, this is the last time I'll tell the story. After this, I go where names don't follow, where ghosts don't echo, where the silence is mine,